Charlotte how many trucks are fighting in the county come back.
Yep.
You kill it there.
I know. I know. So,
Put on on-
Good morning, everyone. At this time, I'll call the Crow Wing County Regular Board Meeting for September 9th, 2025 to order. If you'll stand for the pledge and a moment of silence, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Good morning, everyone. At this time, I'll call the Crow Wing County Regular Board Meeting for September 9th, 2025 to order. If you'll stand for the pledge and a moment of silence, please. Apparently, I like to hear myself speak, if you heard that in the background. All right. Number 2 on our agenda is recognizing Don Ryan for his years of service. Ms. LePage, would you like to come up and address?
Thank you. I kind of have a lot, so if I start to just be repeating myself, go, cut it, LePage. And I hope I can get through this without crying.
We all know you're an attorney, so the length of the speech.
Yeah, but I'm not an attorney today, I'll tell you. I was getting my coffee at Kokomoon this morning, and Mindy, said, how's your day? Good luck today, whatever. And I said, I get to speak at the county board today on behalf of my boss and the years of service. And she said, it's a good thing, here it comes, to tell people when they've done a good job. And when I hear about other people complain about their bosses, which we hear all the time, you go anywhere and you hear someone complaining about, upper management or whatever, and I just sit there and I go, got nothing to add to this conversation. Is he perfect, Don Ryan? Nope. But he is the consummate professional. And if you happen to look up that term, which I did this morning, an individual who exhibits the highest degree of skill, expertise, and professionalism in their field. This term describes someone who is not just competent, but extremely accomplished, displays traits like exceptional knowledge, consistent performance, strong communication skills, and the ability to handle pressure with grace. And I think about that, and that's Don. Don is all of those things, and in addition, he's just like a really good human being. And those are the leadership skills that I have had the fortunate, I've been so fortunate to operate under for 3 decades. Back in the summer of 1996, I was working down in Edina. I was commuting from Little Falls to Edina every day, dropping one kid at daycare in Little Canada, dropping one kid in Little Canada, dropping the second one at a Montessori at the U of M, and then on my way down to Edina. And I worked for someone who was all about billable hours, and there was no care at all about family and about personal well-being. It was about billable hours and production. And I hated the practice of law. I sat there and I'm like, what the hell did I do? Why did I go to law school? And so my parents were retiring up here, and my then husband, my ex-husband's parents were retiring up here, and so I called the only person I knew from law school who worked up here, and she said, oh my gosh, we have an open position, but I think it closes this week or something like that. This is before fill in anything on the internet, right? 1996. I think there were those flip bag phones those bag phones at the time, right? It was DOS-based computers. I mean, you remember this, right? So I filled out the application in pencil because I didn't have access to a typewriter, because the typewriter in our office was by the secretaries, and I couldn't let them know that I was doing this because, remember, I worked for someone who didn't care about the person. And I sent it up, and little did I know, no one in the office liked the person I knew, so they thought I was her friend, right? I just knew her from law school. I was coming up from the cities. I filled out my application in pencil or pen, I don't remember. pencil. And when Sheila Scogan called to say, can we set up your interview? And we set up this time, and I said, just a big FYI, I am pregnant. And there was just this silence, right? And she's like, well, we can't consider that. And I'm like, well, I'm really pregnant, and I don't want people's jaws to drop to the ground when I walk through the door. So here I am, 8 months pregnant, from the cities, and the only connection I have with the office is someone who nobody in the office likes. And for some reason, Don saw something special, and he offered me a job. And I think what I didn't know at the time and when he didn't know, he gave me an opportunity to build my life. And so for the last 29 years, I have had the absolute pleasure of working with someone who is kind, who demands excellence, but in a kind way, who is available. You know, the number of times I have walked into his office, hey, do you got 10 minutes? Hey, do you got 10 minutes? He might be in the middle of prepping for a murder trial, and if you've ever seen it, it's a sight to behold. There's like 275, no kidding, yellow pad notebooks all over his desk. There's 5 different highlighter colors all over these folders. Everyone is for something different. They're all handwritten in his scribble that you can hardly read. I think he has multiple ink colors as well. And so you walk in and you can see that he's busy, right? And you say, hey, do you have 10 minutes? And he'll say, let me just finish this thought. And then he says, yep. And he sets everything down. He doesn't look at a phone. He's not checking a watch. He sets everything down and he gives you his full attention. That's a leader. That's someone who really shows his people he cares. He is people first, his family, his employees, and the members and citizens of this community. I mean, he really, really cares. I think over 29 years, I mean, if it was even one time a week, we're talking a couple thousand. 10-minute meetings in Don Ryan's office, but I'm sure it's much more than that. We have an attorney in our office, Sam Wertheimer, who works for us as a contract attorney. Sam's worked in multiple offices. Sam has said so many times, you guys have something really special here. You have something that you don't see in very many county attorney offices. And that's a leader who lets his people find their place. He lets his people do a job that makes sense for them, and he doesn't dictate all the details. He expects that we follow the law. He expects that we work hard, and people show up for that. And so he has set an amazing example through his integrity, his professionalism, his care for his employees, the residents of this county. And I know those are big shoes for Kelsey to step into, but she has those qualities as well. And so I think that Don has really done a great job in fostering the next, hopefully, 3 decades of leadership in this community. But Don has been just such a joy to work with. Anyway, thanks.
Thank you.
Pardon? Would you like to speak?
No?
Yes.
Yes.
So I remember when Janine came in, clearly pregnant, and I remember that's the first thing she says is, I'm clearly pregnant, but I didn't want you to have your jaw drop. And I said, well, we can't consider that. So we interview, and actually I had 2 people I wanted to hire that day. One was Janine LePage and one was Chris DeMay. And lo and behold, 2 years later, I hired Chris DeMay as well, who's now a district court judge. And so that was a great day. But I remember, I won't say the name, but the auditor at the time walking down to me and saying, what? This is a family show. Do you think you're doing? you can't hire someone who's pregnant. And I said, turn around and walk out because that's a crime and we're not going to have this conversation. So it's not just you, Paul, that I used to pick on.
Really?
And thank you for wearing a tie today.
Thank you.
No, it's been a great 30 years. It seems unbelievable that it's been almost 31 years because it seems like yesterday. But at the same time, when I had my desk full of all those things, and yes, every color meant something to me. Nobody else could figure it out. It didn't seem like it was going as fast as it has, but it seems like just yesterday. So thank you.
And Don down front here.
Seems unusual to be standing here right now because this is where I did my first murder trial. Was in this courtroom. In front of Judge White.
A little known fact is I went up against this guy at one time in a case that I was involved in, so sorry that you didn't prevail in that case. So on behalf of the county board, the county in general, and all of your friends and cohorts out there, we want to thank you for your loyalty, your friendship, and the 30 years of service that you've given to the county. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
All right. Good. No, that's fine.
Okay.
Who would have thought that? Yeah. I'll carry on the tradition. Okay, sounds good.
All right, at this time, it's time for open forum. If there's anyone here who would like to speak on anything other than our printed agenda, this would be your time to speak. Anyone who would like to speak? Third call, anytime anyone would like to speak on any matter other than what's on our printed agenda. Seeing none, we'll move on to number 4, to review and approve the minutes from August 26, 25, and the amended minutes from 8/12/25.
Motion to approve.
Commissioner Corning makes a motion to approve. Commissioner Franzine seconds that motion. Any discussion? All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Not in favor, same sign. That motion passes. Number 5, review and approve the agenda.
No changes, Mr. Chair.
No. Commissioner Franzine makes the motion to approve.
I'll second it.
Second by Commissioner Lee. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Not in favor, same sign. That motion passes. Number 6, consent agenda. If I hear no objections, I would look for...
Motion to approve.
Commissioner Coring makes the motion to approve. Commissioner Franzine seconds that motion. Any discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Not in favor, same sign. That motion passes. We're on to number 7, land services. Mr. Pence.
Good morning. They must have all heard land services coming next, I think, so after the mass exodus, right? So
That's usually Gary that does the jokes, Chris.
I'm
Don't
trying
forget
my
that.
best. I'm learning, so.
Well, actually, I just want to point out those are the members of my office, and they're all going back to work, which is what taxpayers expect them to do.
There you go.
Are you running again?
All right, well, Mr. Chair, members of the board, we have one request for you today. It is for a land use map amendment for parcel number 57050519, located in section 5 of Daggett Brook Township. The request is to amend the land use map from agricultural forestry to rural residential 5 involving approximately 42 acres. Can we go to page 46 on the map, please? So this is the property in question here. You have County Road 9 here. The area that's in blue is the RR5, the rural residential 5. The green is our ag forested zoning. And so what they're asking to do, what they originally asked was to change this parcel here to match up with the 5-acre zoning next to it. The Planning Commission and Board of Adjustment did hold a public hearing on August 21st of 2025, and they made a unanimous recommendation to the board to approve the land use map amendment for parcel 57050519 from agricultural forestry to rural residential 10. So just that's a note, they recommended 10 instead of 5, involving approximately 42 acres. The PCBOA did feel that the RR10 is more appropriate for this parcel. The Planning Commission Board of Adjustment did develop a finding of fact that is found on pages 53 and 54 for your consideration as well. And based on the application submitted, staff packet, public comments, and the finding of fact, it is recommended to approve the land use map amendment as recommended by the Planning Commission Board of Adjustment. Staff have reviewed the file and concur with the recommendation from the Planning Commission Board of Adjustment. I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Any questions?
Mr. Chair.
Commissioner Corning.
Chris, did we hear anything from Daggett Brook Township Town Board?
I don't believe we got any information from the
Okay.
township.
Okay.
Chris, did we hear from the trust, anyone from the trust on,
They were okay, they were.
they're okay with that?
Yep.
All right, I would look for a motion to approve.
I'll make the motion to approve the amendment as 10, excuse me, as 10 acres.
Second.
Commissioner Lee makes a motion to approve. Commissioner Coring seconds that motion. Any further discussion? Hearing none. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 None in favor, same sign. That motion passes.
Thank you.
Thank you. On to number 8, Sheriff Klang.
Good morning. Just wanted to shout out to Don. I want to thank him for all his years of service and for just being a guy that was always consistent and calm. And anytime we had a crisis or anything like that, you always brought calmness to the room, and I just really appreciate that. Not very many people can say that they've worked here for 30 years, 30 plus years, 31 years, and has been able to get along with everybody, all the different personalities, all the special personalities that we have. You've done a great job, and I just really appreciate you very much.
He didn't get along with me all the time, I could tell you that.
That's why I gestured. We're up here today to talk about our coroner contract that we have with Steve. Steve, want to come up here a second? Steve has been with us for a little over, I think, 11, 12 years or something like that, and has done a good job for us. And he is, after turning the young age of 75, he wants to give this whole thing up. So, Steve, you want to say something?
Yeah, first I do want to comment about Donnie. We were neighbors when I lived on Gilbert Lake, and then I would see him in church activities too at Trinity Lutheran. And that same integrity and character that he carried in his office, he also carried outside of the office. And it's just been such a privilege. But it's interesting, when I first bid on this medical coroner's contract 11 years ago, Donnie had sent a little note, and I got a copy of it on it, and one little line on there that it said, and it made me feel like I'd been doing the right thing too, because all it said was, I would do business with Steve on a handshake. That meant a lot to me.
That's true, though.
Yeah, but I've always held him in high regard in everything. Like I said, I know him outside of his office, and I'm glad I never did meet him in his office. So, but anyhow, thank you for your service too. But so anyhow, as Eric was saying, what's happened was in February I had major heart surgery. I am a combat Vietnam veteran, and Agent Orange finally caught up with me. But the surgeon and the doctors and everybody said, I don't know how you did it, Steve, but you're doing fantastic. So I feel good. But they did suggest that I perhaps stop doing what I'm doing. The gentleman that Eric is going to talk about, he's been working with me for a year. And I set a very, very high standard because of the nature of the business of what we do. And in that last year, Kurt has actually been on every possible scenario scene that we have gone to, every single one. And he's remarkable. He respects law enforcement. He knows law enforcement are the ones in charge there. And they have been fantastic. I've never had so much support. And people that don't see that side of law enforcement throughout the county, no matter where I went in the county for a removal, I always saw two things: courage and compassion. And I could relate to that because I know when I was in Vietnam, we knew what the mission was. No matter where it was, we went and we did it. They do the same thing, but they do it with so much compassion when the family is there. And I'm fortunate, by the time I get there, the family is out of the picture. Their family is there when they arrive. But they have the courage to go on whatever the mission is. They just go and they do it. So I have a very, very high regard for law enforcement, and that'll continue on. But Eric's just been a joy to everybody that I've had. Joe Meyer, I mean everybody. Joe Meyer even said, he said, you turned that kind of, let's call it a bad type of scenario that we go into. He said, but you've turned that business into something that's dignified with respect. And so we just did what I was taught to do growing up. Plain and simple, that's all I ever did. And the military kind of helped. They gave me the discipline and structure that I needed desperately. But anyhow, I wanted somebody to come in and that could give the same service to county law enforcement and the people of Crow County that they deserve. Plain and simple. We have never had a rate increase in 11 years. And Kurt is going to maintain that cost. And that cost across the state that I know of has gone sky high. And it's just ridiculous. I think they're taking advantage of something. I don't do that. And like I said, I trained Kurt. He knows the business. He knows a lot of the law enforcement. He took the liberty of meeting Eric personally at the fair. He took advantage of that. So, but anyhow, it was a tough decision. Very tough decision, because that community service part of my mind says, you got to do something. Well, my wife and I have already found other things to do, so we'll still serve.
Thank you, Kurt. Thanks, Steve. Appreciate it. You can see that Steve's very passionate about his job, and I just wanted you guys to hear from him firsthand. So I guess what's before you today is I meant to transfer the medical examiners over to Kurt for the remainder of the contract.
Commissioner Franzine makes the motion,
I'll second that.
second by Commissioner Lubke.
And Mr. Chair.
Discussion?
And just a little discussion, just so everybody knows, this contract is till January 1st. And I will say that I did have an inquiry from somebody that wanted to know when it was coming up for a bid, because there might be somebody else that wants to bid on it. So
Absolutely.
I'm glad, Kurt, that you're saying that you're not going to increase it, but I just wanted to let you know that. So.
And I'll take this opportunity to thank Steve and the service that you provided to us over the years, and didn't change the cost. I'm not sure how you achieved that, but certainly it's a pleasure to have worked with you and the services that you've provided. So thank you very much. So we have a motion on the floor. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Not in favor, same sign. That motion passes. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you. Any other questions at all, or all good? All right, thank you.
Good for now. County Attorney,
I didn't bring anything today, Mr. Chairman, but I certainly can answer any questions if anybody has them.
any questions? Again,
Come on,
thank-
somebody come up with something to stump him on the last day.
Go for it, Debbie.
on, Deb. Well, again, thank you very much for
Thank you.
your
It's
service,
been a
Don.
pleasure working with all of you.
County Administrator.
Mr. Chair, Commissioners, I don't want to reiterate everything everybody else has already said, but I have had the absolute pleasure of working with Don over the last 30-plus years. I like to remind him from time to time that while he has seniority and position over me, I do have a little bit of seniority over him in the county structure. I got hired in February, and he got elected in November of the same year. So I've been around a little bit longer than him, but I can honestly say that I have been super fortunate to not only work with him in the capacity that I have in my different roles across the organization. We've collaborated on everything from elections-related items to property tax and property transfer issues and all kinds of other things now in my role as county administrator. And I've been so fortunate to have his guidance and counsel, and I'm really going to miss that opportunity to float things past him. I've also been fortunate to work on different boards in the community with Don. We've had the good fortune of working together on the Rotary Club as well as on the Brainerd Public Schools Foundation Board. And Don's a shining example of what it should be to be a public servant and a good community member. So I'm going to miss you, and I'm looking forward to working with Kelsey as well. So lots of big shoes to fill that I know that you can do, but I will miss you. Senior management had a great meeting yesterday. Our senior management team spent a work session discussing our performance management process, and we have done some refining of our templates. We're looking forward to revising that process to be less burdensome for both supervisors and employees while still maintaining the integrity and the excellence that's expected of all of our folks. So we feel that there will be some great benefit as we roll that out over the beginning of the year, and a really good discussion on our Crow Wing County pay plan that we will be hoping to bring forward to all of you before the end of the year as well. So it was a really good meeting yesterday. We had a lot of good discussion, good feedback, and good representation from our senior management team. So that's all I have for you all today, unless anyone has questions of me.
Questions for the Administrator? No questions? Would remind, any additional business?
Yes.
Yes.
Commissioner
Go
Corey?
ahead, Mr. Corn.
No. Just, I'm not looking for a answer today, but I just have another suggestion, like this, kind of similar to the one when I suggested that we go to quarterly transportation meetings. This summer, it seems like I've had a lot more planning and zoning questions asked to me. I just had one, I don't know if I'd call it a confrontation, but had was going just for a golf cart ride, and the neighbor says, "Why did I need this permit?" And they were just doing some landscaping in their yard. And I said, "Geez, I don't know, it doesn't make sense to me." Well, I called Chris and talked to him, and he said, it's mandated by the state. If you're within, is Chris still here? If you're within so many feet, you have to have a permit. And so my suggestion is, and just for us to think about this, maybe at least once, maybe twice a year, maybe the county board could have a planning and zoning 101 just to kind of brush up. There's no way that we're going to know every single ordinance intimately, but at least if we try to brush up, at least when I'm out in public and somebody asks me a question, I want to be able to at least try to give them a good answer, if that makes sense.
Personally, I don't have a problem with that. I don't know what the other board members feel.
No.
Because I
Good with
think,
that.
Gary, doesn't your office do like a planning and zoning 101 with like realtors? And he's shaking his head, yes. Local contractors. Because I don't think a lot of people realize, that there gets to be changes, like it used to be where nobody if they want to put riprap on their shoreline, they never used to need a permit. And now they need a permit because it's gotten kind of like when people are just like, it's literally a rock pile. I mean, they're going all the way up. And so I think just for the county board members to brush up on that a little bit, I think would be helpful to me. So, and then I think if it was like at a committee of the whole or a special meeting, and I think if we had it recorded, so if the public watches it, I think they could have great benefit to that too, as far as what the ordinances are. So anyway, it's just a suggestion. I did run it up the flagpole with Deb, so maybe we can decide later on, but this is just another one of my ideas. Thanks, that's all I've got.
Mr. Chair, if I may, Commissioner Coring did bring the topic to my attention, and one of the things I suggested was perhaps that you all submit maybe your top 5 questions that you get asked, or things that you would like to know about that might be specific to your district, or things that you want to know overall. We could work with our land services team to put something together and schedule a committee of the whole that the only thing that's on the committee of the whole for that day is the plant land use 101 concept, so that it meets both the requirement of recording it for future reference and for the public to be able to see and have that transparency, as well as touching on some of those topics that might be important to you so that you have that information.
Okay.
So if you would all like to send your questions to me or your thoughts of things that you would like to see covered, I'll work with Gary and we'll make sure we get something scheduled for you in the coming months.
Any other discussion?
Yep, just one thing.
Commissioner Lee?
I just wanted to comment on Don Ryan too here. I listened to everyone talk about Don and their background with him and experience. The one thing that I didn't hear, unless I missed it, is a descriptor for Don of mentor, which he has been for many, many people in this county over the years. When I first started with the county, my second or third case that I had to testify for as a brand-new officer was kind of a high-profile case, and of course I had no idea what I was doing, so my contact with Don was, help me, and he was a very good mentor and gave me a lot of good advice there, as well as the rest of our careers together, I guess, and now as a county attorney, or county commissioner, I did the same thing. I approached him right off the bat and asked him a bunch of questions and gave me a lot of wonderful advice, and done a fantastic job for our county, so appreciate it.
All right. I would like to remind everybody that September is Suicide Prevention Month, and that at any time, give somebody a hug. Help them through their tough days. Smile, handshake, acknowledgement, anything to encourage them. We need to help them with that. It's also the month where we support people in recovery. And we have an opportunity, there's a recovery walk coming up on September 18th, I think. I'd have to double check that, but down at Kiwanis Park. And we should be supporting those individuals. That's a tough walk to walk, but they're making the walk and we should be beside them in their efforts. And with that, I would look for a motion to adjourn. Motion by Commissioner Franzine. Second by Commissioner Coring. All in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Not in favor, same sign. That motion passes. We will be having the budget meeting
At
at
10
10
o'clock
o'clock.
in this
So
room.
We've got about 25 minutes until that takes place. How are you? Good.
I've gotten that question more than I thought I would. So
I was almost gonna bring it up to the public eye, but I thought, I make enough to make it to the public eye.
Jamie Lee just said you take over the public.
Oh, there you go. Okay.
At least initially.
Yes, yeah, there you go.
then what was it that when Tim retired, did penny loafers or what, you take pennies on top?